How many of you know we live in the greatest state in the nation? And we're celebrating things like we know that the first statewide elected official was John Tower in 1962. Some of our history that you may not know, our first statewide elected official other than Senate was Rick Perry in 1991 as Ag Commissioner. John Cornyn was our first Attorney General, elected in 1997. Bill Clements was our first Republican governor since Reconstruction in 1979. We gained a Senate majority in the Texas Senate in 1997. We gained a House majority in 2003. We have held every statewide elected official office since 1994. And tonight, to celebrate that, we have our great governor, Greg Abbott. So being at a podium, it always reminds me of one of my favorite Ronald Reagan stories. And as many of you know, way back, we didn't have the majority that we had. So this candidate, way back when, decided, I'm going to make a difference and I'm going to run. So he's in a totally Democrat area. So he drives around the city, he finds this old farm, he walks up the road, sees the farmer, and walks out, introduces himself, and he says, I'm so-and-so, I'm running for this office, and I'm a Republican. And the farmer says, wait, you're a Republican? Let me go get Ma. She's never met a real Republican before. So he goes and he gets his wife, and as the candidate is looking for a stump, someplace to stand to be able to give his speech, the only thing he sees is this, it's a farm, little pile of manure off to the side. And he says, well, you know, you do what you got to do. So he climbs up to the top of the pile, he delivers his speech. Afterwards, they thank him, and they say, we really enjoyed it. We have to be honest. We've never heard a Republican speech before. And the candidate says, well, I have to be honest too. That's the first time I've ever given a Republican speech from a Democrat platform. So if Judge Reeve Jackson and Representatives Cole Hefner and Daniel Alders would make their way to the stage, we're going to open up in prayer. Judge Jackson's going to do that for us. Rep. Alders is going to lead us in the U.S. pledge. Rep. Hefner is going to lead us in the Texas pledge. And then we have Kara and Jonathan Story who are going to lead us in the national anthem.
Good evening. If you would, please bow your heads with me. Sovereign Lord, we gather tonight in gratitude for our great republic, a republic conceived in liberty and ordered by the laws of nature and of nature's God. We thank you for the rule of law, for the right to assemble, to speak, to worship, and to self-govern. Rights that we know are not mere accidents of history, but are gifts of your divine providence. But to whom much is given, much will be required. For you are a God who weighs every nation in balance, and no people escape your verdict. So search us, and if we are found to have grown complacent in freedom, wake us. If we have prized comfort above courage, strengthen us. If we have loved power more than principle, correct us. Call us to uphold the legacy of the lineage we claim, those like Lincoln and Reagan, who understood that freedom survives only where character endures. We pray tonight for Governor Abbott. Give him the courage of Joshua and the wisdom of Solomon. Guard him from pride, from fear, and fasten his judgment firmly to eternal truth. Remind us all to defend the vulnerable, to honor our word, and to restrain our passions. Help us to disagree without dishonor and to contend without contempt. In the end, God, let it not be said of this generation that we inherited our freedom and squandered it, or we were given our liberty and lost it. No, God, when the hour comes, let it be written of us that when the days required courage, we did not shrink. When the actions of our convictions were costly, we did not compromise. And when the culture of our world bent toward what feels good, we stood for what is good. Establish then, God, the works of our hands. Renew our strength, and make us a people worthy of the freedom we proclaim, so that when that measure of our nation is taken, we shall all be found unashamed. In Christ's holy name we pray. Amen.
Please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance to the United States. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everybody, for being here. Please join me in pledging to the greatest state in the nation. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Let's give Kara and Jonathan Story another applause, please. Any Marvin Methodist Church members in the audience? Yeah, well, then you guys know Jonathan and Kara very well. Please be seated. Dinner is now served. If you will, where is Lauren? How are we going to do? Are we going to do table by table or just let people get up? So why don't you tell me how you want to do this? I know that the tables in the front, you guys stay where you are. The dinner is going to be brought to you.
First, thank you everybody for your patience. This has been a team effort. So my 4 tables that are going to remain seated are Daniel Alder's table, Senator Hughes's table, Governor Abbott's table, and Rep. Cole Hefner's table. Everyone else, you will be dismissed by number. We'll start with the precinct chairs here, and then when they come back, the next person will tap them out, and I'll have a volunteer come to your table, okay? Yes. So I'm so sorry. We're going to split down the middle. Precinct chairs will start that way and hit your next table, and then this precinct, or not precinct, this table, table 8, it's been a long day, guys. Table 8 is also going to get our buffet line started. Okay?
Okay. Yeah.
just to make any plans when I still don't even understand if you're ever gonna come back home to me. Tell me please, how long gone are you gonna be? Tell me, how long gone are you gonna be?
So as you all are going through the buffet lines, we're going to do something a little different. We're going to have some candidate introductions. So what I would like is, if you are an elected official or you are on the ballot running for an office this primary season, if you would form a line over here to my right and your left, you're going to come up on the stage and get to introduce yourself to everyone. So don't be shy. You're running for office. Come on up and we'll do a quick run through. So come on, Judge, all y'all. Elected officials and candidates. So I know there's about 40 of you here, so I'm going to demonstrate. All right, so here's how this is going to work. This is not a speech. This is a 1 or 2 sentence as I will demonstrate. Hello, everybody. My name is David Stein. I'm the Smith County Republican Party chairman.
Good evening. My name is Sarah Maynard, and I serve as the judge of Smith County Court at Law number 2, and I'm running for re-election as judge of Smith County Court at Law number 2.
Good evening. My name is Debbie Gunter, and I'm the judge of the 241st District Court, and I'm also running for re-election.
Good evening. My name is Jennifer Bolito. I'm the judge of Dallas County Criminal District Court number 1, and I am your Governor Abbott endorsed candidate for the Court of Criminal Appeals, Place 9.
Good evening. I'm Allison Fox, and I'm running for the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals, Place 3. Check the box for Fox.
Hello, I'm Sam Griffith. I'm retired from the Texas 12th Court of Appeals as a justice at the Court of Appeals. I'm now running for Justice of the Peace, Precinct 4. I appreciate your vote. Thank you.
White, current judge of County Court Law number 3, and I'm running again for County Court Law number 8. Good to see you this evening.
Good evening. My name is Nate Sheets, and I'm going to be your next Texas Agriculture Commissioner, and I've been endorsed by Governor Abbott, Don Buckingham, the Texas Land and Cattle, Texas Feeders Association, all the ag associations, so let's go win this back. God bless you.
Good evening. Thank you, David, for this wonderful evening and this opportunity. I'm Jacob Putman, your elected Smith County Criminal District Attorney. I'm on the ballot. No, I don't have an opponent. It's good to see all of y'all.
Good evening. My name is Sean Scott, and I am running for Smith County Justice of the Peace, Precinct 2.
Howdy. I'm Josh Joplin. I'm your Smith County Precinct 4 Constable, and I am not running right now. I'm not up till 2028. Thank y'all.
Good evening. I'm Andy Dunklin. I am the Justice Court Judge in Precinct 2, Smith County, and I'm running for re-election. Thank you.
Good evening, I'm Gay Boynton, I'm running for Smith County District Clerk.
My name is Tim McDonald, and I'm running for Smith County Justice of the Peace, Precinct 3.
Good evening. My name is Daniel Alders. I am your state representative for Tyler and Smith County. That's House District 6, and I am on the ballot this March 3rd, running for my second term. Thank you.
I'm Wayne Christian. I'm Texas Railroad Commissioner, which has nothing to do with railroads, it's oil and gas. And I'm not up for election this time, but I am a new Tyler resident, so I'm very proud to now be a local Tyler guy. And Jim Wright is running this time, and he is the right man for the Railroad Commission job.
I'm Mike Jimerson. I'm DA from down the road in Rusk County.
Howdy, my name is Austin Luce. I'm running for Smith County Commissioner, Precinct 2.
Thank you for this beautiful evening, David. I am Councilwoman Shonda Marsh. I represent District 3, Northwest Tyler. I will be up for re-election in 2027.
Good evening. James Wynn, Tyler City Councilman, District 4, and I'm running for mayor on the municipal ballot on May 2nd.
Good evening. I am Carlene Dark Bays, and I am running for the City of Tyler, City Council, District 6.
Good evening. My name is Casson Huddleston. I'm running for State Board of Education. Been endorsed by our great governor, Greg Abbott, and Dan Patrick, and many others. I'm looking forward to serving each and every one of you. God bless.
Good evening, I'm Karen Morris. I am running for Republican Party Chair of Cherokee County.
Good evening, Nicole Tarpley. I am the interim chair for Nacogdoches County and running for re-election.
Stuart Haney, and I currently serve as the council member on the Tyler City Council for District 1, and I'm also running for mayor for the city of Tyler. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Leslie Fitzpatrick. I want to be your next judge for the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals. I have the honor of being a candidate sponsor for this event. Vote for me, Leslie. Thank you.
John Nix, running for Tyler Mayor on the May 2nd ballot. Thank you.
I'm Kelly Hancock, your acting controller. Thanks to my good friend Greg Abbott asking me to leave the Senate and move into that role. And so I'm working with Governor Abbott and President Trump to make sure we get your $11 billion back that we had to spend during the Biden administration with Operation Lone Star to secure the border. Thank you for having me again. It's Kelly Hancock, and I am running with the governor's endorsement in March. Thank you all very much.
Hello again, I'm Cole Hefner. I represent House District 5, which is northern Smith County and 5 counties to the north, and I am running for re-election. Thank you all for being here.
Hi, I'm Cody Harris, State Representative from down the road in Palestine. I'm honored to have the endorsement of Governor Greg Abbott, President Trump, and I'm honored to lead the fight to protect East Texas groundwater in the state capitol.
All right, how are we doing on meals so far? Where are we on the? Well, you guys enjoy. We'll restart the program in just a moment.
Just enough money for my gas and oil. Who needs your shrimp and your caviar? I sooner have you just the way you are. Rich people got the money to hold. Mansion on the hill and diamonds and gold. But it can't compare as far as I can see. Next to you, sitting next to me. There ain't no place that I'd rather be. Next to you, next to me. right song. I'll change the station if the news comes on. When the signal ain't coming in too strong, we'll make our own music, honey, all night long. If the good Lord's willing, when we're old and gray, the kids are grown up and moved away, we'll be rocking there side by side with the barbecue chicken and the TV guide. Well, there ain't no place that I'd rather be next to you, sitting next to me. No, there ain't no place that I'd rather be next to you, next to me. There ain't no place that I'd rather be next to you, sitting next to me. Next to you, next to me, next to you.
All right, everybody, if I could just get your attention just for a moment. Y'all please continue to go through the buffet line. We are running just a smidge behind schedule, so I'm going to keep the program moving along. For those of you that have not met me yet, my name is Lauren Etheridge-Langus. I have the honor of serving as the Public Relations Director for the Smith County GOP, as well as your event director for tonight's event. This evening has been a labor of love, and I'm incredibly proud of what this team has pulled together for Smith County. Now, before we hear from any of our incredible speakers, I want to take a moment and recognize the people whose generosity and hard work have made this evening possible. First, to our table sponsors, James and Margaret Perkins. Fritz and Serena Hager. Jacqueline and Kevin Diornellis. Lori Rossman and Brian Young. Herbert Bowie, Sharon Guthrie, James Wynn, Jared Kent, Colin Scholl, Railroad Commissioner Wayne Christian, and the Linebarger firm. Your generosity is what fills this room and fuels this party. Now, to our incredible vendors, Mandolin Hospitality for an outstanding meal, Florida Soul for making this room breathtaking with the florals, Cause Creative for capturing every moment, Designer Graphic for our printing, Flash East Texas for the photo booth, which was sponsored by Congressman Moran, Video Magic Productions for our audio and visual, Creek & Associates for keeping us safe, and the wonderful staff at the W.T. Brookshire Conference Center. You are world class. Now, a special thank you to our volunteers. You showed up, you served, and you did it with excellence. We are so grateful for each and every one of you. And speaking of people who work hard behind the scenes, I have to recognize my team at Triple Crest Consulting tonight. I would not have been able to get through this night without them, but a very special thank you to my business partner and my sister Cammie for getting us all through the night, especially me. Finally, I would have to take a moment to brag on our chairman, David Stein. David, you lead this party with grit, with vision, and you do what it takes to set Smith County apart. Tonight is a reflection of your leadership, and Smith County is better because of you. Thank you for everything you do, seen and unseen. Now, let's get our speakers going. We're going to start with a word from Washington that was recorded by Congressman Nathaniel Moran. Thank you.
Hey y'all, Congressman Nathaniel Moran here. I want to start by saying how much I wish that I could be there with you in person today for the 2026 Lincoln Reagan Day dinner. There are few things I enjoy more than spending time with conservatives right here in Smith County, celebrating the values that bring us together every day and that brought us together to begin with. That said, I couldn't let tonight pass without sharing how excited I am for all of you, especially with Governor Greg Abbott joining you as the keynote speaker. It's going to be a great night. Texas is strong because of steady conservative leadership, and Governor Abbott has been exactly that for our state. I also want to give a special thank you to Lauren Langus, our outstanding event coordinator, and to her sister Cammie. If you've been involved in this dinner in any way, you know these two are the backbone of making it happen. So ladies, thank you so much. Their hard work and yours does not go unnoticed. And of course, a huge thanks to my friend and Smith County GOP Chairman, David Stein. David, always glad to have you in the room, and thank you for your leadership. To everyone in the room tonight, thank you for standing up for Republican principles for your community and for the future of Texas. I'm grateful for your support, proud to represent you in Congress, and I look forward to standing next to you for years to come for the defense of liberty. And I look forward to seeing all of you very soon. Have a great evening, enjoy some good food, and even better conversation with some fabulous people. We'll see you next time. Godspeed. Happy Lincoln Reagan Day Dinner Day.
So keep enjoying your dinner. We're going to bring up some of our elected officials right here from Smith County. So we'll first have Representative Cole Hefner, Representative then Daniel Alders to deliver some remarks, and then State Senator Brian Hughes, who will introduce the governor. I will remind them, and if you all will help me remind them, in order to keep things exactly on time, they each have 5 minutes. So if one of you want to serve a timekeeper and start waving the hand if they go over, we'll give them the hook. But we are honored, folks. Those of you that spend time in Austin know how well we are served in Smith County with these three men representing us in Austin. Please welcome State Representative Cole Hefner.
Thank you, David, and thank you for all the work you do. He gets paid less than I do as a state rep, as your party chair. But I want to thank everybody for being here. Thank you for showing up to this and for giving of your time and your treasure. You know, every time I come to Tyler, I'm just amazed at how much the community just keeps giving and giving and giving, be it charity organizations or events like this. The giving here and the generosity in Tyler is truly special around Texas. I'm honored to work with Senator Brian Hughes and Daniel Alders. Me and Daniel, we spar back and forth picking at each other. I'm always up in his district, but Tyler is a little bit too big for one district according to the population, so I represent about 25% of Tyler down in Austin, and so it's an honor to do that. It's good for us to get together, like-minded folks, to come together and promote our conservative Republican principles. And those are the principles that make Texas the economic beacon, the freedom that other states envy. Earlier today, I had a meeting in Mount Pleasant with some folks that came over from Brazil. And over there, the poverty rate is really high, and their freedoms are very limited. And they were just talking about how we do things here. And it's just fascinating to me that we have a government that is set up in America that protects the rights and freedoms that were given to us by our Creator. That is the government's job, to protect those rights given to us by God, not to give us those rights and decide what we can and can't do. And so it just really brought home how blessed we are to live in this country. And not only that, but to live in this state, and even better than that, to live in this part of this state. This is truly the best place in the world, I believe, to live. So thank you all for being here. It's an honor to work for you. Thank you, Governor Abbott, for being here, his support and leadership. Y'all, when we're in Austin and we're working on bills, and he gets involved, he has ideas, he has bills, things to make our bills better, bill ideas that he's brought to my office. And he's not just a soundbite governor. He's involved in the details of the policy. He understands the policy, and he puts his money where his mouth is. And it's just a pleasure to work with him, and his leadership in Austin has been unmatched. So just honored to be in this room with you guys. Thank you for the opportunity to serve you in Austin, and looking forward to great things in the future. Thank you all.
You're good. Thank you, Cole. How about another round of applause for David and Lauren and the team for putting on this event? My name is Daniel Alders, as I mentioned before, and it really is an honor to represent House District 6. And for those of you who don't know the map, that is the city of Tyler and then southern and western Smith County. And I want to begin by just saying thank you. Thank you to all of you for giving me the opportunity to serve East Texas, to serve you in the Texas Capitol, where I have the privilege of working with my colleagues in the Texas House, Representative Hefner, Representative Harris, and Senator Hughes, and working with so many others as well to ensure that we keep Texas the best place to live, to work, to raise a family, to own a business, to build something that we can pass on to the next generation. You know, it's not bragging if it's true, right? I believe we have the blessing of living in the best region, in the best state, in the best country in the world. You all know, you can travel the whole world, you can travel the globe, there's much to see, much to do, all kinds of culture to experience, but at the end of the day, where do you want to be more than anywhere else? It could be my seventh generation East Texas roots speaking, but I believe there's no place like home, right here in Tyler. And God has brought us together at this unique moment in time, in 2026, I believe, to preserve the ideals that have made Texas great. You know, Texas stands at the forefront in our nation. You hear it all the time. We're the 8th largest economy in the world. We lead the nation in energy production. We're number 1 in semiconductor exports, in the number of farms, cattle, cotton production. For 21 years, we have ranked number 1 as the state with the best business climate. And that doesn't even count what's coming with the financial sector, which is ready to say so long to New York City, and they're ready to open up shop right up the road in Dallas, where we've now got the Texas Stock Exchange. And I want to say, congratulations and thank you to Governor Greg Abbott for your leadership in making us number 1 across the board. Thank you, Governor. Give me a metric and we will be at the top or near it. And guess what? It shows. Over 1,000 people are moving to our state every single day. Seems like I've been hearing that all my life, but I'm pretty sure it's only been the last 15 to 20 years. But it's true. And why? I believe they do so because here in the Lone Star State, we are serious about advancing policies that allow Texans to prosper. Policies that are based on the principles of limited government and free markets. We believe that low taxes, strong families, and healthy churches lead to thriving communities. We advance policies in the Texas legislature to defend parental rights, put God back in our schools, and protect the sanctity of human life. I want to thank Senator Hughes for your consistent leadership on behalf of the unborn. Here in Texas, we take our responsibility of protecting Texans seriously by strongly supporting our law enforcement officers and passing legislation that is the strongest in the nation, saying no foreign adversary has the right to own property in our great state. Thank you, Cole, for your leadership on that issue last session. Fundamentally, we believe that a less intrusive government leads to greater freedom, and also that government and regulatory bodies exist to protect common resources that we all share and that we need to survive, like our water here in East Texas. And in case you don't know, there is a fight coming on that front. But know this, your East Texas legislators are committed to joining together to protect what God has given us here in our neck of the woods, and we won't be backing down. And I want to thank Representative Harris for your leadership as chairman of the House Natural Resources Committee in leading that fight. Thank you, Chairman Harris. Here's the deal. Texas is growing. Tyler and Smith County are growing. And we're going to have growing pains. They're real, they're painful, and the future is going to present plenty of challenges. But as long as we hold on to our East Texas values, which I know that those in this room are committed to doing, our faith in God, love for our family and our neighbors, and commit to hard work and the principles of limited government and free markets, We will not only survive, but we will meet the moment, and Texas will be stronger for it. Thank you, and God bless.
Well, good evening. I'm Brian Hughes. I represent you in the Texas Senate. We were in Austin yesterday, and it is good to be home. As has been often been said, Austin's they got some good food. It's a nice place, but it's good to be back in Texas. And I'm glad to be here tonight with y'all back home, as we've already been reminded. David talked about the occasion, bring this here, and I can't see how many of us have already voted? How many of us voted today on the first day? All right, well, I voted today, first day of early voting. I voted for myself, and I'm pretty sure I got at least one more. My wife, Layla, and I voted together. It's a secret ballot, but I believe her. She said she voted for me, and her first time to vote for me, because first time on the ballot since we've been married. So thank you, baby, for the vote, among other things. And it's a joy to be here. We have those protesters outside. Many of you got to interact with them. So this is America. There's free speech. There's free exercise. But we must be doing something right. What do you think? Isn't that good? We're getting people's attention for standing up for what matters, for the right things. So thank you. I'm honored to be representing the Texas Senate at the White House. About a month ago, there was a gathering of state legislators from around the country. And while I was there, I heard something happening in Washington. And so this is told as true. This old guy, I use the term old guy differently than I used to. But anyway, this older gentleman walks up to one of the gates at the White House and talks to that Marine guard who's there in uniform standing at attention. And the old man says to the guard, "I want to see Joe Biden." And the Marine guard said, "Joe Biden is not the president of the United States." The old man walked away. The next day, same guy comes to the same gate, talks to the same Marine guard and says, "I want to see Joe Biden." And the Marine guard again says, "Joe Biden is not the president of the United States." Third day, same guy, same White House gate, same guard comes up and says, "I want to see Joe Biden." And the Marine guard said to him, "Sir, I'm telling you for the third time, Joe Biden is not the president of the United States." And the old man paused, and then he smiled and he said, "I know. I just like to hear you say that." We can identify, can't we? Are we glad? What a difference an election makes. And you've heard wonderful things tonight. We're going to hear so much from our governor, our great governor who's come home tonight to speak to us. And just picking up briefly on the themes you've heard, I just want to remind us about where we are and how we got here. When our founders wrote those words, "We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal and are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments exist among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed." Ripson Hefner talked about this. Our rights, those precious blood-bought rights, don't come from Austin or from Washington. They come from our Creator. And I wouldn't be much of a friend if I didn't take just a moment to remind you something you already know. That Creator, who our founders said gave us those rights, the Bible says He created each one of you in His image, and He loves each one of you individually and specially, more than you can know. In fact, He loves us so much that Jesus Christ, God Himself, the Creator, humbled Himself and came to this earth and took on human form and lived a beautiful, sinless life, and then gave His life for our sins and rose up from the grave. And He's coming back, as you know. And if we turn to Him in faith, we can have a home with Him in heaven and a walk with Him here below. And by the way, that was not from the Texas Senate or the Smith County Republican Party. That was from me, because I care about you and I'm your friend. And in days like this, it wouldn't be right not to remind you that most important message. Amen. Amen. We think about why we're here and what sets us apart, all those ways Texas is leading. We can't help but think about Governor Greg Abbott. Since he became governor, all those numbers have been going up, all those metrics Representative Alders talked about. One thing I want to remind us about, we're here today in the second Trump administration in America's golden age with a secure border, and we're excited about that. But how many of us remember just a few years ago when we had that porous southern border, when millions of people were being invited here illegally by the federal government. You know, this was happening all across our border. You know what it was doing? One state stood alone. Texas invested billions of dollars of your tax dollars to secure that border. Yes, to build that wall. Yes, to put DPS troopers and National Guard and game wardens and boats and planes and helicopters and all kinds of technology to secure that border. And it's not a very well told story, but it worked. In the worst days of that open border in Texas, because of Governor Greg Abbott, our border crossings were actually going down while they were going up in every other state bordering Mexico. And let's not forget one more thing. We knew about the border crisis, but maybe the rest of the country was not as keen on it until what happened? Until Governor Greg Abbott started sending busloads of illegal immigrants to New York City. Remember that? To Washington, D.C., to Martha's Vineyard. I've never been there, but I'm sure they needed some company. And what happened? When he did that, the debate changed, and the whole nation turned their eyes to the border, and the administration could no longer ignore it. And so we're thankful for God's providence. We're thankful for where we are. Who knows? The border would not have been the national issue it was in that election, but for Greg Abbott raising a profile nationally, showing leadership, taking risks, just one of the many things we're thankful for. You know how he's led us to this great economy we have, to fighting crime, to protecting our children, and yes, to make sure that boys and men stay out of women's locker rooms and out of women's restrooms. Yes, amen. We don't make any apology for that. We could go through the list of his accomplishments. We want to hear from him. When you think about his leadership and his values and his grit and his love for Texas, it makes a little more sense when you know this. Governor Abbott was born just a few miles from here. You probably know this, down the road in Longview. He was born in Longview. Here in East Texas is where he was formed, at church, at Boy Scouts, in his home, where his values were developed. And when you know that, well, no wonder he's such a great leader. No wonder he has such great values. He believes like people believe around here. He leads us. He's one of us. He's here tonight. And please, I hope you'll join me in welcoming him. He's our friend, our governor, our fellow East Texan, and with us tonight to encourage us and so that we can show our support to him. Please join me in welcoming our governor, the Honorable Greg Abbott.
Thank you all very, very much, and please give it up for Senator Brian Hughes for the very kind introduction. But more importantly, let's thank him for his great service representing East Texas in the Texas Capitol. He does it the way you would expect an East Texan to do so, with the strong beliefs grounded in the values of East Texas. And I got to tell you, the Texas Senate would not be what it is without Brian Hughes. Brian, thank you very much. Also, I want to thank your local representatives, Representatives Alders and Hefner. If I understand correctly, Representative Alders is not challenged in the primary, which means that he can go ahead and get comfortable in getting his office in order after the election. We have Cole Hefner, who does have an opponent in the primary, and I was with him, a week ago in Mount Pleasant, campaigning for him there, making sure that he once again is going to cross the finish line. And I got to tell you, both of these representatives, they are salt of the earth, but also they get things done, which is what you need. And most importantly, they get things done that are consistent with the values of this region. You may know them personally and deal with them and things like that, but you may not know what happens behind the scenes when they really are going to work every day. And I have been there in my office, in their office, on their floor, and these guys go to work every day ensuring that other members who may be from Austin, Texas, or El Paso, Texas, or even Dallas, Texas, that those people know what it means to be a representative from East Texas and what East Texas values stand for. So please give it up for all of your local state representatives and your senator. And I'm proud that they're joined tonight by their neighbor, a very close friend of mine, and someone who is a beacon of fighting for the values that matter the most, including what he's working on concerning water. My good friend, Cody Harris. Cody, thank you, man, for being over here. And to be honest, I was kind of surprised tonight when I got here and I saw your chairman of the Smith County Republican Party here, because I do these events across the state. And whether it's in Cameron County or Hidalgo County or some other place in the state of Texas, a person I run into every single time is Chairman Stein. And so I'm shocked to see you in Tyler tonight. But I think probably no chair works harder for the $0 that he gets paid. So give it up for your great county chair for everything that he does. And at his table and the table I was sitting at, you have people who are truly Texas legends. I'm not saying East Texas legends. I'm saying Texas legends. I'm saying Texas would not be the same without them. Definitely East Texas would not be what it is without them. These people help shape and form this community, help shape and form our state. And that is Jim and Margaret Perkins. Thank you all so much for everything you all do for our state. Missing from this festivity tonight, however, is maybe somebody who's doing more than all of us combined to move the needle in advancing the state of Texas, and that is the chair of the Board of Regents for the University of Texas, Kevin Eltife, who's really just knocking the cover off the ball. And two other friends that you got to see earlier, I just want to mention them again. One is a guy that I've worked with in the Texas Senate for a decade to make sure we got every meaningful piece of legislation across the finish line, and a guy who made a sacrifice and chose to be the candidate to run and be your comptroller, and that is Kelly Hancock. Kelly, thank you very much for your leadership and your friendship. And a guy that we were talking about at our table, and a guy who is equally salt of the earth, and maybe I should say sweetness of the earth because of his honey, and that is Nate Sheets, who's going to be your next Ag Commissioner here in the state of Texas. Nate, great to see you, man. So I'm here tonight, even though I could be, and maybe should be, in other places in Texas. But there's no more important place to be than here. And I'll tell you why. And that is because we are on the first day of the election in this primary season, which is going to be setting the stage for what's going to happen in the general election in November. And there's no more pivotal county, no more essential county in the state to dictating the outcome of the elections than Smith County, Texas. We need you and what you can achieve for us in the elections this coming election cycle. Let me put some math behind what I just said. The last time I ran for re-election, you all gave me 74% of the vote here in Smith County. That actually is a percent more than what you gave to Donald Trump last year. But, and listen, as good as 75% may seem, this next cycle, this coming November in 2026, I need 80% of the vote right here in Smith County. The reason we need your votes to offset every communistic and socialistic vote in Travis County, in Harris County, in Dallas County, in Bexar County. Y'all may not see these people every day. You may not realize what's happening in these communities because you live in East Texas, and you may think that people across the state may share the same values that you do. The fact is they don't. The fact is we have our own Mandamis in Texas. You know Mandami the commie, the mayor of New York City. You got socialist leaders across the state. And as you know, Representatives Alder and Hefner know, and definitely Senator Hughes know, one thing we have to do every single session is to go back into the Capitol and push back against the socialist agenda that's trying to hijack the state of Texas. Let me give you one example. It's a life or death issue we had to fight for this past session. These socialist judges, and by the way, when they run for office, they advertise that they are socialists, just like Mandami advertised he was a communist. These socialist judges don't believe in keeping dangerous criminals behind bars. And so it was shocking, but maybe not surprising. There have been more than 200 people in the state of Texas in just the last couple of years who were murdered by someone who had been previously arrested for murder and let out of jail on easy or no bail. Those people should be alive today. And we made sure that in the future that would not happen, because I worked with your delegation in Austin, Texas, and we got passed laws as well as a constitutional amendment to ensure dangerous, murderous criminals will remain where they belong, and that is behind bars. And this is really nothing more than an extension of what we saw just a few years ago. You remember this movement to defund the police? You saw it up in Minneapolis, and look what a disaster zone Minneapolis is. But that is where the defund the police movement began. Then it swept to Chicago and New York and LA, and yes, it even swept to Texas. Austin, Texas, Dallas, San Antonio, Houston. I don't know about Tyler. I'd be surprised if it happened in Tyler. They picked the wrong place to do it if it happened in Tyler. But when I saw it trying to sweep across Texas, I said, not on my watch are we going to allow our law enforcement to be defunded. And so I worked with your legislators and got a bill to my desk that I signed that will defund any city that defunds their police. We as a state must be crystal clear. We are not Minnesota, we are Texas. And in Texas, we support our law enforcement officers. We also fought to keep you safe from foreign adversaries, as was previously mentioned, but to double down on that, I signed the toughest ban on foreign adversaries from buying land, water, or anything in our state. If you are a foreign adversary like China, Russia, or North Korea, you are not allowed to be a part of people who operate in our state. And of all things, a new challenge surfaced over there just northeast of Dallas when you saw this Islamic Sharia city being created called Epic City. And when we learned about that, we had 5 investigations from the state of Texas, an investigation from the Attorney General, and then this last session, your representatives and your senator, they got a bill to my desk that I signed saying that Islamic Sharia cities like Epic City are banned in the state of Texas. We will not allow radical Islam to take over our state. And it was based upon laws that got to my desk that empowered me to make the designation that I made just a couple of months ago, when I realized that we had the Muslim Brotherhood and the Council on American Islamic Relations, known as CARE, both of which have long-standing ties to terrorism. I designated both of them as foreign terror organizations who are not allowed to participate in anything in the state of Texas. When you think about it, though, all this is really just common sense. We're not pushing the needle or anything like that. We're pushing back against the socialist agenda that would destroy our state. And think about this. Texas is ahead of the curve of this debate you see going on in Washington, D.C. right now with the SAVE Act. Listen, in Texas, this last session, we passed a law and you passed a constitutional amendment of common sense, and that is in Texas elections, only United States citizens can vote in the state of Texas. And what they're fighting on in Washington, D.C., a voter ID. How common sense is that? In Texas, we passed the strongest voter ID law of any state in the United States, and we banned the practice of using paid operatives to bundle together these mail-in ballots that could lead to voter fraud. We're using every tool we can to ensure integrity at the ballot box during the course of our elections. Senator Hughes made reference to the border. Let's go back in time, because sometimes it seems like memories can be short, but if you can reimagine what happened under the 4 years of Joe Biden, it was the biggest catastrophe the country may have ever faced. More than 11 million people were allowed in by Joe Biden from more than 150 different countries across the globe, some of whom are on the foreign terrorist watch list, others of whom had been arrested and even jailed for murder, rape, and other vicious crimes, many of whom were human traffickers, preying upon women and children on the way to the United States of America. And what we wanted to do in Texas is we could not control the country, but by God, we could control our own border. And that's why Texas did things no state has ever done in the history of the United States of America. Texas is the only state to ever build our own border wall. We deployed thousands of our own National Guard to build military-grade razor-wire border barrier, denying entry and actually repelling illegal immigrants from crossing into our state. And 2 sessions ago, SB 4, which Brian Hughes will remember, and that is, I signed the toughest law of any state in America to prevent illegal immigration. It makes it a state crime for anybody to cross the border from Mexico into the state of Texas, and authorizes every law enforcement officer in the state to be able to arrest and deport anybody who enters our state illegally. Texas is going to ensure that we're going to have a secure border, not just for the next 3 years of the Trump administration, but we are seeking to have a secure border for the next 300 years for the future of the state of Texas. And we are well on our way. Now that we have a president we can work with, we're having greater success than ever. You know, it was, I can't remember, was it Cole Hefner? Who was it who was talking about all the #1 rankings that we have? One of you. Was it Cole? Alders? It was Alders. Sorry, I get you guys mixed up. So Alders was talking about our #1 rankings. Hey, we got another #1 ranking. Texas ranks #1 for the most deportations of any state in the United States of America. But as it concerns these #1 rankings, as Representative Alders was talking about, if I got up here tonight and all I did was to read a list to you of the ways in which we rank #1, it would be like a 30-minute speech. And I've already exceeded my 5 minutes, I think. But I just want to tell you this. I made clear to your representatives, I made clear to everybody in the Capitol, I declared to the people of our state, the time has come for another #1 ranking for Texas. Texas should strive to rank #1 among all states in educating the children of our great state. Now, this is more than just a slogan. It's not just an aspiration. It's something that is achievable if you put together all the right pieces. And what Texas did this last session was put together all the right pieces. One component of that is the passage of school choice. What school choice does is two things. It ensures that a parent is going to be able to choose the education pathway that is the best for their child. That choice alone is going to ensure that child is getting the best education possible for that child. When you multiply that times the approximate 100,000 children who will be a part of that program, that moves the needle. But school choice does something else. It's synonymous with school competition. Listen, what we found in life in America that differentiates America from other countries is that competition matters. Competition leads to better products. Look at what it does in the sports arena. Look at what it does among businesses. Look at what competition does in politics. The same concept applies in the field of education. If you have a monopoly in education, you don't have to compete. You don't have to do your best every single day. You can take a day off. But if you have to compete every single day, you're going to bring your best and do better. And so school choice is going to make it better for the parents who choose a different pathway for their child. It's going to improve our public schools, our private schools, our charter schools. It will improve all of education in the state. But something that we knew is that even with school choice, most of our children are still going to get their education at a public school. We wanted to make sure that our public schools would be competing on a level playing field. And that's why we provided our public schools with the largest funding increase ever, more than $8 billion more to fully fund public schools here in the state of Texas. But we also know what is most important in the school, and that is teachers and having good quality teachers. A good teacher can really advance a child's education. And we wanted to make sure that we would have the resources that would be able to attract and to retain the very best teachers. And that's why we provided an all-time record $4.4 billion teacher pay raise, the largest teacher pay raise ever in the history of our state. But here's something else, another element to being ranked number one. And that is, listen, you can have highly funded schools, you can have great teachers, but if your curriculum is not good, the kids aren't going to get the education they need. One thing a lot of us saw during the time of COVID, we were aghast by some of the things our children were being taught. We were shocked about the woke agenda that was being crammed down the minds of our kids. And it was said time and again that we need to stop the indoctrination of our kids. And that's why your legislators from here in Smith County, they worked with me on a bill that I signed that now bans DEI in public schools across the entire state of Texas. Oh, and by the way, we also banned boys and girls sports in public schools across the state of Texas. We have restored phonics in our classroom and cursive writing for our students to get classical education training once again. There's so many other issues that are important to the people here tonight, important to our fellow Texans across the state, issues that we've already gone to great lengths to tackle. One issue that some people are talking about is the issue of affordability, and that hits different people in different ways. You know, candidly, if you look at the cost of something like gasoline in California, it's like 3 times what it is in Texas. If you pull up Gas Buddy, you're going to find here and around Tyler, Texas, you'll find several dozen stations selling gas at less than $2 a gallon. Gasoline is one of the lowest in Texas than it is anywhere. But there are other expenses that people deal with. There are medications that people have to go buy to sustain their lives. Some people could lose their life or fall into grave ill health if they did not have access to an essential drug like insulin. Well, in Texas, we led the way. Far in advance of what the federal government talked about, in Texas, we capped the cost of insulin so that no one would be denied the ability of access to a life-saving drug in Texas. One thing I've heard everywhere I've been is the rising cost of insurance and how it is really making it difficult for our small businesses to stay open. You know, small businesses typically operate on thin margins. And when your insurance doubles in a year without you even ever filing a claim, how are you going to be able to pay your bills? How are you going to be able to keep your small business open? Same thing happens to homeowners. Look at the cost of the increase of insurance for your home or your auto. Even though you may have never had a claim, that has to stop. We've been looking at what other states have been able to achieve, and we have found ways to not just slow the increase of your insurance, but we have found ways to slash the cost of your insurance, ensuring you're going to be able to stay in your home, stay in your business, and better operate in a more affordable way in the state of Texas. But to be honest, the thing I hear about the most is how costly it is to stay in your home because of what property taxes does to that cost of living in your home. Well, let me tell you what we just did, and let me tell you what we need to do. What we just did last session is what we did the last 2 or 3 sessions. We passed an increase in your homestead exemption. To go back to the fundamentals, a homestead exemption is the amount of your home that is exempt from school property taxes. School property taxes are the largest part of your property tax bill. When I became governor, the homestead exemption was $15,000. In the aftermath of what we did this past session, now the first $140,000 of your homestead is not going to be taxed by your local school district. And get this, if you were a senior, I don't see any here tonight, but if you were a senior, the first $200,000 of your homestead is exempt from property taxes by your school district in the state of Texas. Instead of you paying for it, the state of Texas is going to pay for that. But listen, I hear you applauding, but I also know this. No one has ever come up to me and said, Abbott, listen, you guys are doing a great job on property taxes, and I'm perfectly happy with my property tax bill, right? Exactly. I said, so here's what I'm telling you. If we go back to Austin, Texas again, and do the same thing we've done before, which is to increase your homestead exemption, that gets us into that situation where doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting a different result. You know what that is? That is insanity. We cannot have insanity by doing the same thing. So I've talked to people here in Smith County, in East Texas and West Texas, North Texas and South Texas, and put together these 4 things that will more than cut your property tax bill in half and be enduring. Number 1 is to limit the singular reason why your taxes go up to begin with. The cause of taxes going up is because spending goes up. And what I say is that every property taxing jurisdiction must live within spending limits, just like your business does, just like your home does. Second, appraisals are out of control. I've had people come up to me with their hand shaking, holding their envelope of their appraisal bill, afraid to open it, thinking that when they see the appraisal, they know they will no longer be able to live in their home. And there's a reason why it goes up. By Texas law right now, your appraisal can go up 10% a year, year after year after year, until truly you are unable to stay in your home. I say it's time to slash that from 10% to no more than just 3% a year. And as opposed to having your property reappraised every year, year after year, have it appraised only once every 5 years. Another thing, and that is, I don't know about you folks, but I know in other parts of the state of Texas, many people see their property taxes increase without them even having a vote on it. Your home should never have a property tax increase without you having the ability to vote on it and to require a 2/3 vote before a property tax increase can go into effect on your homestead. And then there's this last one. This last one alone will more than cut your property tax bill in half. And that is, when it comes to education, the state of Texas should fund education, not your homestead. We will eliminate your homestead school district property tax, and instead, the state of Texas will pay that bill, freeing that money up for you to ensure that you are going to be able to live in your home for the rest of your lives. When you couple that together with all of the tax exemptions that we are providing to our small businesses, slashing the regulations for small businesses, you're going to find something happen pretty rapidly. Texas will soon become one of the most, if not the most, affordable state to live in of all the states in the United States, which creates a double-edged sword, because you know what happens after that. Yeah, you're right. All those New Yorkers, all those people from Illinois, all those Californians, they're going to be flocking to the state of Texas. But don't think I haven't thought about it. That's why I'm governor. I'm prepared, because here's the game plan. If we pass my property tax reform, make Texas so affordable you can't even stand it, we're going to stop building that wall on the southern border, and we're going to build a wall on the Red River, on the Sabine River. Keep all those invaders out of the state of Texas. That'd be some real change. But property tax cuts will not even be on the agenda if we do not get these elections right. What's happening now for the rest of this week, all the way through May the 3rd, what happens in November is consequential to your property taxes. It's consequential to life or death decisions about letting murderers back on the streets. It's consequential to whether or not we're going to turn back to a time when open borders were accepted in the state of Texas. We cannot risk that level of chaos. We have to all be involved in this process. And let me tell you, winning elections, they're not won by speeches. They're not won by TV ads. Elections are won by one thing and one thing only, and that is people going to vote. What we all must be engaged in, from your local party to your local precinct, to us operating at a statewide level, all of us have the collective responsibility to ensure we do everything we possibly can to get every person out to vote. Let me give you some easy math. We don't need to convert anybody to win this election. The math is this, and that is, in non-presidential election years, only about half as many people go vote as in a presidential election. If all we did was to get every Republican who voted in the last presidential election, it would be a landslide. But it takes manpower to be able to muster and knock on all those doors that's going to be needed to ensure we will be able to turn out that vote. And that's where we need your help. And there's an easy tool that we've come up with that you can download tonight and deploy all the way through early voting. It's found on your app store at your Apple store or your Android store, whatever the case may be. The app name is Abbott Impact. If you download it, you'll find that you'll have the listing of all registered voters in your contact list. And you will know tomorrow whether or not they voted today. And you'll be able to call all of your friends, text all of your contacts, say, listen, I notice you haven't voted yet. Please go vote tomorrow. Something like that. I'll do that to my entire table because I was the only one at my table who raised my hand saying that I voted. But also, it's going to connect you with your social media platforms, whether you use Facebook or X or Instagram, whatever the case may be. What I hear state representatives say to me who have used this, state senators, activists, they say is the most effective tool they've ever used. Download it, try it out. If you don't like it, you can always delete it. But I think you'll use it and keep it because it can be so effective. But listen, we got to do this because, you know, one thing that every speaker got up here and talked about was the East Texas values. And there's a reason why they did that. Because they know at the core of East Texas are the values. But those values actually permeate beyond just the piney woods. I was down in Corpus Christi last night at an Independence Day dinner where they read the William B. Travis letter from the Alamo. Everybody here knows what that is. Think about the grit of what that is as a part of Texas history. Texans are unique from the time of William B. Travis to the time of today. We have shared values that have made Texas exceptional. And what we have to do is we have to grasp those values every day through this election. We have to ensure that we protect freedom over fear, that we always place God over government, and that like all of us, we truly believe in the exceptionalism of what it means to be a Texan. And we can muster that and then work together to push back against all these progressive leftist socialists who are trying to take Texas to the far left. Then I can assure you that on election day in November, we are going to win that election, and we are going to achieve the most important thing we could achieve after an election, and that is to keep Texas, Texas. So thank you all, God bless you all, and God bless the great state of Texas.
Hey, can we give it up again for our great governor?